Welcome to TNA Impact, ladies and gentlemen, the cold area of New York City. Feast and Fire. A gimmick that we've seen them do so many times. Ugh. But did it work this time? Before I get to that, let's get to everything else. I wish to say again, Josh Matthews is making the show so much more palatable. I know everyone's not enjoying Taz, but let's be honest here. Josh is making it a lot more easy to go through. It's like having a new, young, fresh face dealing with TNA's commentation, which it is. Even though he has worked for several years. And I know many people are going to probably say, dude, he's a nobody. He's not that great. In this situation, I'm not saying he's great. But I am saying he's a fresh breath of air. We need it. Now, Eli and Loki versus Rude and Storm. The reason I'm bringing it up first is because of how it was set up throughout the night. I mean, you had the Lashley segment wanting his title back. Then you had several other segments in the back dealing with Angle and Rude trying to team up together because Rude still wants to get his hand on Eli. And Angle just wants to clean out the Beatdown Clan, baby. But when it comes down to it, this wasn't a bad match. And then what happened afterward wasn't too bad as well. Seeing that Loki was the one who got the pin instead of Eli is actually quite nice to see, because usually they would put the guy that is the most established, and you could say Loki is that, but he hasn't been there for so many years. He's only been back for a little while. So seeing that Loki, who's the X Division champ, is getting the moment makes me very happy. And this still promotes the Beatdown Clan dealing with Angle, dealing with Rude. Now, going into the street fight, I'm doing it now. I could leave this for the end, but I really believe it's not necessary for me personally. The fight between Lashley and MVP wasn't bad. You could see the steam coming off Lashley. Lashley being a big muscle guy, he produces a lot of fucking heat. That man was like a sauna. You could see when the fight was over, the Beatdown Clan came in, and Angle and Rude came in to help. When it was all over and Rude and Lashley were staring at each other with Rude holding the title, Lashley was just steaming, man. It was cold that night. It had to be one of the colder nights in New York. And I know that because this apartment isn't always warm. But damn, man. Woo! That man is just a heat machine. But it is good to see that Rude and Lashley had to stare down. But the question's going to be, do they still have a feud or not? Of course they don't, but they're trying to pose that. And that isn't a bad thing at all. I'm alright with that. The only question's going to be, what is TNA going to promote after this? Are they going to show Rude and Lashley still teaming together? Are you going to show Lashley still being a face, but then Rude turning to heel? I know that's kind of stupid because we're really doing well with Rude as a face. But you never know with TNA. They may try to flip the script because they're worried of not getting enough shock value. Now, this is also with shock value, which I think is stupid. The match between Matt and Storm was okay. I enjoyed the match. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a match of the night for me, but it was a good, solid match. At the end, when the Abyss came out, and why the fuck did someone give him back Janice? Why? You don't need Janice anymore with the Abyss. Hell, you don't need the Abyss to do anything anymore except to be in the background and just hold the titles. But then they decided, from my perspective, they want to take the titles off of Storm and the Abyss, and they want to build up to it. So what do we get? Jeff Hardy screaming out, "We gotta dance one more time next week. Monsters Ball." Why? Monsters Ball. It's been played out so much, it's routine. It's not special. I don't even know how many times it happened last year. 3? 4? I think it might have been 2 or 3. I can't remember how many. I can't. And I don't want to. I don't want to see Jeff Hardy facing the Abyss in a Monsters Ball match. It's been done. But if they're trying to build up to give the titles to the Hardys, I understand the reason why they're doing it, but I don't want to see it. And since we are talking about Storm, it is Uno versus Kaja. If I'm pronouncing the name, mispronouncing the name, I'm sorry. I believe it's Kaja, which means lost in Hindi, supposedly. If it's true or not, I don't really care. The point is not the name, but the impact he makes. Now, he didn't speak, which is a smart move right now. If he's not a good talker, let Storm do it for him. He destroyed Uno pretty quickly in doing a Dino Brown aerial power bomb. Not so bad. But the question's going to be, can he deliver? Can he go well in the ring? Can he last well in the ring? If he has to talk, please, if he can't, try not to talk too much. Please don't let him talk too much. Because what happened with Kenny King and Lashley is a perfect example of that. Kenny King versus Lashley. Now you know what happened in the match, but I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on how Lashley was acting. He wasn't. It was terrible. I want my title. Now. What is that? That's nothing. If someone just beat the crap out of you the week before, and then you want your title, which was taken, you're going to show more emotion. I want my damn title now! That's emotion. I may not be a good actor, but that's true emotion. Raw emotion. Someone just stole something from you, no matter if you believe that he deserved it or not. He should be more strong about it, particularly as a face. We didn't get that. I want my title now. That's the problem with Lashley. Lashley is very, kind of like a Randy Orton. He's very monotone. But the point is that as he's monotone, he doesn't relay enough emotion in that monotone attitude. I mean, I'm not an Orton fan. I'm sorry. I'm just not. But when you look at it, Orton gives more emotion than a Lashley can. And Lashley just at this moment did not show emotion. And I thought that was just terrible. I'm glad Kenny King was talking. He saved it as much as he could. But Lashley just could not do it. He's not a straight man. He's a dull man. And that's sad because if Lashley had the ability to really relay his feelings, he wouldn't need someone to do that for him. Now, the Havoc versus Gail Kim match. It was a good match. I think it was one of the best matches we had on Impact. But here's the problem. Seeing Gail Kim get destroyed wasn't a problem. Seeing Havoc go up against Kong was great. But seeing that Havoc was the one that had the job here doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. Now, if you saw my debate of the week on can Havoc and Awesome Kong give life to knockouts, I didn't say it in that way. Can they make it better? I said they can make it better, but the problem is there's just not enough women to do that. Short term is great. Long term there's a problem. There's just not enough people. Particularly what happened to Feast and Fire now, it makes it worse. Now, I'm not saying it was a bad segment. No. Seeing Awesome Kong and Havoc, the irresistible force versus the immovable object, was great. Seeing Havoc get knocked out of the ring and get so damn pissed off was also good. The problem I have is that Havoc hasn't had a rematch yet. She's winning against Gail Kim, but then she's got a job to Awesome Kong because Awesome Kong hasn't had a match yet. She needs to look dominant. The only thing Kong has done is killed people. But that's what we got. And it's what we have to deal with. Next, EC3 versus Jeremy Borage. I think I enjoyed this the most in the night. You know why? Because even though it wasn't one of the best segments of the night, it was the most well put together in my perspective. Seeing Jeremy come to the ring and EC3 commentating and announcing was actually really good. The hardcore American icon does know how to do it well. The thing that sold it for me, Jeremy grabbing the mic and saying, you know what, people say you suck, But you know what? They don't want to see that. They want to see a fight. And Jeremy was punching his ass. That actually was good. Unlike like Michael Cole or some other type of commentator other than maybe a Taz if he was capable, most of them just get their asses kicked. But you saw Jeremy actually put up a good, decent fight against EC3. Of course, he didn't stand a chance, but it's not the point. The point is that Jeremy was setting up something that was actually pretty good. Because now he's going to be a manager with Spud and Mandrew, which is Mark Mandrew from British Boot Camp 2. I still haven't seen it except for maybe one episode. If I have the chance, I'm going to see if I can review it so I can see how Mandrew worked in the second version of Boot Camp. But he doesn't look bad, but I gotta admit, he's a small guy. Spud is not very much taller. I mean, Spud's maybe about 5'3", 5'4". Well, I'm 5'8.5" in sneakers, 5'8". But this guy is not much taller than Spud. So he either is my height or just a slightly taller. And that's kind of small in being wrestling. But you know what? It's alright. Because as a tag team, the Boot Camp Kick-Assers, or whatever you're going to call them, because it's obvious this is going to be a tag team. There's no way they're just going to let Mandrew go off on his own, and Spud is just going to still deal with EC3 in this situation. It's just not going to work. We need Spud to have an opportunity to be able to take out EC3 on behalf of Jeremy. And he can't do it alone, Jeremy. He's not a wrestler, so Mandrew is the key. I'm not opposed to this. I'm actually very happy about it. Now, let's see. Am I forgetting anything? Don't believe I am. It's time to do the two last things left. The Feast of Fire match and the opening of the cases. Now, the Feast of Fire match wasn't very long. It wasn't. It was maybe about 9 minutes long. 8 to 9 minutes. Which, I'm going to say here, I'm actually glad how TNA has done this. They gave us a match at the beginning of the show. And we have no managers now. I mean, the manager for TNA, there is none. The wrestlers are the ones who are doing the matches. Now, this is refreshing. I don't know how long it's going to last before we get bored and we do want to have a general manager. But having no manager at all, just having the refs there, and the wrestlers just say, let's do a match, is actually pretty damn good. It's something different compared to WWE, which they do the 20-minute promo segment. We immediately went to a match, and we know that the match wasn't that bad. It was the best match of the night for me, because I'm not fond of seeing a Feast and Fire if it's not done properly. But in general, the people that were chosen were not bad. Now we get to the case openings. Now Spud has an X Division chance. Magnus has a tag team opportunity with Bram, unless Bram is not going to be his partner. We got Austin Aries with a world title shot. But this is the thing that surprised me. Seeing that Robbie, I'm not a Robbie fan. You guys know how I felt about what happened in The Amazing Race. Robbie actually conducted himself well with Brooke. Brooke was a pain in the ass. I'm not hating Brooke. She's a gorgeous woman. She's probably smart, but she was a pain in the ass during that Amazing Race. Robbie was the one who kept it together between them. And them breaking up, if it was because of Brooke, she messed up. He's a decent guy. I'm not saying he's good in the ring, ladies and gentlemen. He sucks. But when it came to this, I was actually surprised the way they did it. If Velvet could not re-sign her contract, they had to get her off the show somehow. Doing it like this actually was interesting. Seeing that Velvet was the one who grabbed the Feast of Fire match briefcase. And that Robbie realized at the end of it, oh my gosh, I didn't get this briefcase. My girl didn't. She said I wasn't even a match, which Christy Hemme should have announced. Stating outright when she had to sit down, this is Velvet Sky. I really believe that that was a lost opportunity on TNA's part. Christy should have said, Velvet, honey, I'm sorry. Even though you weren't involved in the match, you touched the briefcase, so it is yours. That would have made more sense. And I believe that's where there was a big mess up right there. But seeing that Robbie E was not the one that had to quit, and it was Velvet and they did it like this, it's a nice change. Is it a great change? No. Robbie E's still a dick in the ring. I mean, he sucks. But the point is, it's something different that we got from TNA. We don't normally get it from them like that. They just do it straight. They actually gave us a little bit of a swerve. And it wasn't a huge one. And I'm alright with that. So this show actually was good. Was it great? Oh, no way. Monsters Ball next week. Are you fucking serious? With Abyss and Jeff Hardy. I don't want to see that. I just don't. No. What happened with Havoc, I'm not fond of. I think it would have been better, even though it was done well. They could not get anywhere and the refs separated them again. I think that would have been better than having Havoc having the job so quickly. But that's just my opinion. Please tell me how you feel below. And I hope you enjoyed this debate of the week. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. The reason I'm thinking about debate of the week is I'm not doing it. Because of the Royal Rumble coming up tonight, I'm not going to do my debate of the week and release it tomorrow. I will be doing only the Royal Rumble review. And I have been trying to consider what is the best debate of the week next. Give me an idea, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to hear your input. And I hope you have a good day and have a good night. Peace!